How's it going?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I haven't heard that intro before. It's pretty nifty, man.
You missed the better of the two. Like we
Yeah,
usually, if we had
there's a-
enough
there's a-
time, we've got a scroll.
There was a scroll, but we wanted to get you in there with a great song. But no,
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I'm a fan.
It's the power of AI, dude. Because I can't write music, but I can write words. And
There
so
you
I've been
go.
having a fun. It's like my buddy. I showed one of those to him. He said, "I love the future, man." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I love the future too." But anyway, to a certain extent, yeah. Darren Usher's in with us, and man, we just want to talk some recruiting with you. It's a good time to do it. I know.
Yeah.
I see Shane Beamer is on vacation at the beach and stuff now, which jealous because it's 14 degrees where I'm at. But
Yeah.
so I know you guys are kind of got a downtime, so it's a good time to catch up.
Absolutely.
And you just had X class. This class of 2026 is tracking good. I think everybody feels pretty good about recruiting. But kind of look at the 2025 effort, and South Carolina. You guys just put 11 players to the scouting combine. That's a huge deal. I think that helps recruiting quite a bit.
Totally.
But you got to replace those guys, and you got to with returning players, the portal, and also freshmen and JUCOs. So, do you feel like you guys during this past cycle put a dent in the needs that you needed to put a dent in just on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, 100%. And that's having those 11 guys, which is a school record, is a testament to our coaching staff, nutrition staff, weight staff. I think what that shows potential recruits, right, is that we can develop guys. There's another school in the SEC that sent 11 guys to the combine, but every single one of them was a transfer player. And that's great, but we've got a mixture of portal guys, but also guys that we took as freshmen and redshirted them and things like that. So to me, what that shows is if you come to Carolina, you're going to get developed. You're going to get developed holistically, not just on the field, but off the field. And I was literally talking to our staff yesterday. We did a little scout school exercise. We have everybody in there just so we can see with our eyes what we want, in our program. And I got up there and said, I think we have a cheat code, and it's our strength staff. So Coach Day and those guys do an absolutely phenomenal job, and allows me and our coaching staff to go out and find guys that may be a little bit underdeveloped from a weight standpoint, but I've got absolutely zero doubt in my mind that they're going to get bigger, stronger, faster once they come into our program. So that helps, JC, to your question, is in finding guys. But I think what we did is we wanted to actively get longer length and speed. And you saw that especially on the defensive side of the ball, but also with the wide receiver class that we signed. And to me, the wide receiver class and the linebacker class, every single one of those guys that we signed have length and speed. And so and they had the traits that we're looking for. So I feel like we really did go out and address our needs. And then I've said this time and time again, I don't ever want us to try to sign an entire class from our portal or rely on that year to year. I'm a firm believer in development, like I just said, and you want to go out and get your needs in high school, but then supplement with the portal. And I think we were able to do a really great job of that. But also at the same time, we're not done. And I think we're going to be aggressive in this spring window. We've got a couple things that we want to shore up here, and we'll really have a better picture too after spring ball, obviously. But through 3 weeks of winter workouts, our guys are doing phenomenal. There's a hunger there. I don't think anyone is satisfied with last season, because last season is last season, and the 24 team is the 24 team, and this is a whole different team. But we know what the kind of potential we have, and then I think it gives guys confidence that the pieces that we added, those guys are showing up, and it's just winter workouts, right? It doesn't mean anything, but I've been around long enough to know that when things are going well that way and off the field stuff is getting taken care of, you usually have success come fall. So we're pretty proud of the guys that we brought in from a portal standpoint, and then our early enrollees. They've been busting their tails, and we've been working really hard these last 3 weeks.
Looking at that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, Darren, nationally, maybe the high school class not really getting slept on, but not as hyped and all of that for this last cycle. But as you're looking forward to it, or as we get closer to the season and got through the high school kind of showcase games, Donovan Darden's a name that's popped up. So some of these guys are starting to make a name for themselves, right, as they move up the board. How do y'all feel, in conjunction with the transfer portal? Because and interesting, a little off script here on our end of things. Like, we were having a discussion yesterday rather with Hale about how the 2024 transfer class was a lot of kind of one and done guys, right, that just came in, did their job on the field, and 2025 has a kind of a different feel to it, and that you're not getting these guys in here who are just on loan for the year. So that balance of bringing the talent in at the high school level and developing it, plus being able to fill needs in the portal. But specifically to the high school guys, how are we feeling, moving forward? Is it kind of let them sleep on them and let's show what we've got as we move forward? Is that kind of the feel around the program right now?
Yeah. I mean, look, I've been doing this, a good amount of time now, not as long as you all have, but to know that you can really tell, not everything, like I said, but through 3 weeks, one, they're in a college environment for the first time, so that's adjusting, right? Just being life without their parents at home and all those things, okay? Two, the workout portion of it, right, is a massive adjustment, and that first week, is tough, regardless of the background you come from. So now we just, today's Thursday. They're just finished workouts right now. This will complete week 3 of our winter training. You have a better picture. And I will say, and maybe I'm a little biased because I'm around them and help, sign them. But these are some of the more ready guys that I've been around in my time. From a just and here's the one thing and that I think we do a phenomenal job of here, and that Coach Beamer's done a phenomenal job of for the past 4 years, even before I've been here, and the staff is recruiting the right guys from a character standpoint. And that's such, and every kind of time I get to talk with you all, and every other interview I do, I say this word culture, and not a lot of people can understand it from an outsider's perspective. Not that they should, but when you're in the building every day and you get to be around these guys, you understand why. And that's why we recruit that so heavily, and it's so important in our evaluation and identification process. Those guys have the ability to learn and get further faster on where we want them to go, because they're such great people. And they're fun to be around. They don't show up late. They work hard. So that's why I think they're more ready than I think guys have been in the past. Not for any particular reason, but just that we did such a great job of recruiting high character guys from good programs that win, right? I mean, those are all important things. So when they come into this environment where we're coming off a 9-win season, we're not satisfied with it. They're not really skipping a beat, and it takes them a week to get acclimated and all that. But I think they've jumped right in the fire with the guys, and they're willing to put in the work. So I'm excited about where they're going to end up. You don't quite know yet until we put the pads on, because right now we're just kind of in the underwear Olympics, right? That's what I call it. That's what the combine and all that stuff is. But you can see traits, right? I mean, you can see traits and work ethic, and I again, not to just keep bragging on Coach Day and the strength staff, but man, I think it's such a crucial piece in today's landscape of college football, that as much as some of these guys are earning from an NIL standpoint, which I am a big proponent of, it's zero when you walk into the weight room. Everyone's equal, right? So the work that they put in there sets the foundation for this season come fall, not just from a physical standpoint, but also from a mental standpoint. And Coach Day is unique, and he's the most unique strength coach I've ever been around that to me doesn't sacrifice the mental piece for the physical piece. It's equal, and that's massive. And then Derek Moore does a phenomenal job from a character standpoint, right? We meet once a week and do things with the team, and just team bonding is kind of a cliche term. We don't really use that, but that's what it is, right? You're building, the foundation for the season. So, when it's the fourth quarter and we're down to Missouri at home, we find the resilience that after we give up a touchdown, that we can come back and drive down the field and score and win the game. All right. Those things are built now. They don't just happen, on game day and things like that. So I think these young guys have bought in. That's I know that's a long-winded answer, but they've bought in fast, faster than I've seen before. And I think you're going to see guys show up and have the opportunity to play. And look, I mean, this isn't political. Like the best players are going to play, whether they're a freshman or they're a 6-year senior. We don't play favorites or none of that. If you're the best player, you're going to play, and our guys know that. And we use that throughout the recruiting process. You're open, honest with them. You're transparent, and the best guys are going to play. And I think y'all will see some of these freshmen show up on Saturdays.
How easy is it to sell that with Nick Eamon-Worry on the cusp of being drafted into the NFL, being a local kid out of Irmo?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that too. And I literally we were showing his camp tape. So his going into his senior year of high school camp tape yesterday, just because I had asked Coach White about it a couple months ago, just because I was curious, because I wasn't familiar with Nick being on the West Coast for so long, and I wanted to know, like, how did we find this guy, and he was I'm sure y'all are more familiar with the story, but as the story goes, he was a linebacker at Irmo, and he came out to our camp. And this is why I trust our coaching staff so much. And Torian Gray, who's probably, in my opinion, one of the best developers of talent I've ever been around, saw him, and I watched the drill with my own two eyes, because we keep all this stuff in a catalog in our system, which is phenomenal. Nick was doing a back pedal drill, and T. Gray said, "Oh, no, come over here." And he brought him over the DB drills, right? The rest is history. Offered him there. Everyone else kind of wanted him to play linebacker. He was in that hybrid sort of spot. And that's why, I know JC knows this, and stars are great, and I know it drives content to the sites and all that stuff, but they don't matter, man. If you've got the traits, there's no reason why a kid like that, why is he not, ranked a 4-star and all that, just because he was playing out of position? Well, who cares? Yeah, exactly.
He's a freak. I got a text when he camped that day. I got a text from staff. This is no longer there. And he's like, "This is the biggest freak ever from Irmo. He shut people down like a corner all day long, 6'4". And South Carolina got him. And that was right after the pandemic. So there were going to be guys like that. But in the state of South Carolina, every year, TJ Sanders was a basketball player, 3-star guy. In fact, of the 11 going to the combine, the average rating in high school was mid 3-star.
I know.
11 guys.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday too. We also watched TJ's high school film. Yeah. And that joker is 303 pounds, and he's standing up, rushing off the edge, and he's looking very nimble doing it. And then Tonka as well. So, we show that to show, look, these were under-recruited guys in high school, and look what they ended up doing for us once they're here. So, it was more of trust your eyes, right? If they've got the traits and they're good kids, take them. All that stuff will work itself out down the road. I know fans love it, and trust me, I'm not discounting star rankings and all that, but I will say, when you walk in the door, those stars don't follow you through those doors. So it's great and all that, and there is some indicators, right? Obviously, but it's not everything. It's not the above all be all. And if it was, if someone had it figured out, they'd be a billionaire, and we wouldn't be even doing the rankings anymore, probably, right? So, I think, I have a saying, and I've brought it with me wherever I go. And I literally, we were talking about this as a staff yesterday, is our eyes, our ears, right? I mean, that's great that everyone else has opinions and things like that. But when push comes to shove on Saturday in the win and loss column, we're going to rely on our eyes and our ears to trust what we see and what we hear from an information standpoint, because our jobs depend on it, right?
Y'all are the ones that are going to get fired, not us.
Yeah,
if you don't win,
and this is a staff that I think we're all on the same page, and that's why we do exercises like we did yesterday, which I think is awesome. That coach allows us to do that, and so if Coach Elliott's out on the road as our tight ends coach come spring. He knows, not that he didn't already know, but just as a hypothetical, right? He knows exactly what T. Gray is looking for in a DB, and sees a guy that's 6'1", and maybe he's 160, but knows that our strength staff is going to put weight on him. He's above 6 foot. Okay, I got to send this guy to T. Gray. I got to find out some more information about him. So, when your staff is aligned and in sync like that, and there's not egos and guys wanting to sign guys in their area because they're highly rated, that's when you've really hit a sweet spot. And in year 5, I think with Coach Beamer now, we've really hit a sweet spot. I obviously wasn't here for those previous years, but you fine tune things every year, and I think we're really hitting our stride as a staff now. We're on the same page, and we know what we're looking for, and we're going to actively go pursue that.
Yeah, that's easier said than done, dear. And I've seen disasters, not just at South Carolina before Beamer got here, but disasters in college football where they may sign the 3rd ranked class in the country and they're sitting at 5 and 7 and they are getting fired because of the expectation. You mentioned the culture too. I think, sometimes fans hear that and everybody talks and uses that word in football nowadays. I think the biggest thing is that last year you guys had 36 new players on the roster. And that's common now, around most. Mississippi State's got 51 for next year. That's amazing. But you're sitting there at 1-3 with 2 losses to Alabama and LSU, of all people, where your guts just got ripped out. Some new players, guys that are going to go to the NFL. 1-3, same old Carolina, 500. People are talking. It was a negative offseason outside. So I believe you when you say our ears, because I had to turn the computer off last offseason sometimes, and that's my job.
Right.
So then you come back, you have a week off or whatever, and then you go to Oklahoma, or you go to Oklahoma the very next week, and then it starts, and then you don't stop losing. You went out and we're one of the best teams in college football. I don't see that type of resilience in other places. In that exact situation where you have a lot of new players, a lot of people in their first year in the program, and a lot of guys that are a year away from doing it for more money in the NFL level. Most without leadership and culture, do you not think that type of situation would have probably gone a little bit further south than you guys did last year and turned it around?
100%. You're spot on. Culture is everything to me. I mean, I'm such a firm believer in that, and it's not something you say or put on a wall that you walk by every day. Like, that's just words, right? It's a living and breathing organism. It's every single day. Culture is every day, and it can change every day, right? It's like a roller coaster. It goes like this. And here's the one thing: the best programs and teams I've ever been around, it's player led. We can say that as a staff, and coach can say that as a leader all he wants. But if the players aren't bought in, one, and then two, living and breathing it every day, not just on Tuesdays when we're working out or we have our toughest practice, but on Thursday nights before when 5 points is popping off and our guys are in bed getting ready for Friday instead of going out. Like, seriously, those things matter, and those things all add up, right? And I only say that to know because I only know that because I was a student here. So, and I didn't play a sport, so it was okay for me to go out to 5 points. So
I think back at that time you had some folks that would take the team that would go there.
Right.
Yeah, I will.
I'm not going to say too many names.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. But,
Right.
Yeah. That's maybe a story for another day off camera here. But
exactly.
No, I mean, and those are really important. And like, you know, people say, oh, we've got such a good culture. Well, like, you can't just say that. You literally have to live it out every single day. And also trust the ability of the locker room to police itself. Now, with that being said, we also had one of the best leaders I think I've ever been around in my 15 years in college football in Demetrius Knight. I don't think it'll be hard to top ever having a human being that was that good at that stuff and also that good of a player. And I think that's why you're going to see him vault potentially and hopefully into the first round of the NFL draft from things that I've been hearing, hopefully. If not that, he's going to be an early day 2 pick. And I'll never forget after that Alabama game, we walked into the locker room and, you know, it was quiet, right? And guys were pissed. Obviously, you know we let one slip away, but D Knight brought the team up. Coach didn't bring the team up, and he wanted to kind of see, and that was by design, not by design, but Coach was, you know, when the team is like that, you let those guys kind of handle it and you sit back. And if they don't do something, then you step in as a coach, right? And he obviously talked later on, but D Knight brought the guys up. And I'm not going to get into all that was said, but I remember standing in that locker room being like, all right, we're going to be all right. You know, and you usually know you in that moment whether this is going to crush you as a team, you're going to go this way, or you're going to use it as fuel and you're going to go this way. And I know that's easier said, you know, after the fact, but I just remember being in that moment being like the words that he's saying and then looking around and look, I'm a evaluator of human beings for a living. So I read body language a lot. And that's why I love this job. And it's a different, unique perspective, even on the sidelines on game days and things like that. I can read people's body language and I'm scanning the room, I'm standing in the back and, you know, guys are into it. You know, guys aren't like having their head down, taking their tape off. Like that's a bad culture, you know, or they go straight to their phones. Like, no, everyone's like wide-eyed, locked in, knows that we let one slip away. Let's not let that happen again. And then you saw what happened the rest of the season. But that comes with being a good leader. But it also is player-led, right? And also a great leader in Coach Beamer allowing those guys to have that sort of voice in the locker room. And I think the younger guys saw that. We're having some guys step up now. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. That's a team thing right now that we're still building, right? But they know the standard from last year. And D Knight would, you know, get up and say things pretty much every week. That dude I've never been around a guy like that before in my career. And I've been a part of teams where it's gone the other way after a loss and you feel the negativity. You feel the toxicity a little bit and you just know, I've been in locker rooms before where you have a tough loss on Saturday and you already know you're going to lose the next game. Right. You just from in your gut, you feel it. And then, you know, usually you can get a real good vibe on that Sunday practice, right? When no one wants to be out there after a loss, whether or not you're going to win the next week. And I remember that Sunday practice and it's a lighter practice, right? It's built by design to kind of just get the lactic acid out. And then your young guys get some reps too, right? And I remember that Sunday practice being intense, super intense. And everyone was like, it was almost like our Tuesday practices are our most physical practices of the week, right? And it felt like a Tuesday practice that Sunday post Bama. And that's when, you know, you really were all like, okay, all right, we got something special here.
Yeah, I was going to say, not asking for any names or specifics, but have we, as you're going through winter workouts and building this camaraderie, are there some good candidates starting to pop up for filling those leadership voids that are going to be obviously there with the departures of the players that are leaving for the NFL?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think our quarterback's doing a phenomenal job of that, and he knows the pressure and the expectations that come with being a quarterback in this conference, and having the season like he did last year, and the expectations that he has moving forward. And I think he's embraced that and done a great job of stepping up and being that guy for us, throughout these first couple weeks of winter workouts. And I think he's got the trust and of this entire team and organization and program to, help us into this 25 campaign.
You mentioned length earlier, and gosh, every time I look up a DB that you're recruiting in 2026, he's 6'4" and 217 pounds. It's unbelievable. But Zayvon Hardy, a defensive tackle, everybody wants to talk about that position just because Boogie and Taka and TJ were here for forever. I mean, literally, they had I think their name it's probably hard to get the plate off their locker room, probably engraved there, right? But Zayvon Hardy, so you flipped him at the end, and so how big was that? Not only from a need standpoint, but from a standpoint of a guy that you had the program had a long relationship with, to get him back in the fold. And how's he been looking and doing here on campus, because people are interested in him, and he is long-armed and he's got length, like a lot of these new defensive tackles that are coming in.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I don't think you ever want to stop recruiting a guy just because he commits somewhere else. I think that's a poor philosophy, and I would probably, if you got everyone in my position or on a coaching staff, they'd probably tell you the same thing. I think if you stop recruiting a guy because he commits somewhere else, that's just lazy. And if you really want him, right? Now there are times when, you're maybe in it, but you're not as in it as you think. And you're like, okay, he's going there. That's his dream school. Cool. All good. You put your resources somewhere else. But if it's someone you really want, I don't understand why you give up on that. And we didn't. I mean, it was like, okay, cool. He committed to, the other school. And you just treat it like it's another day. And I think the kids appreciate that. I mean, that's our philosophy. I don't really care about what other people. Yeah, I don't really care about what other schools do, and that's not my concern. I just know what our philosophy is, and Coach Beamer's philosophy, and it's someone we wanted, so we're going to continue to recruit him just as hard. And it's not, you don't change what you do just because a kid committed to another school. I think if you do that, what does that show the kid and his family? Like, was he not a priority before? Oh, so you're telling me I committed to school X, like, so now you're going to recruit me harder? Like, no, you just say, I mean, almost like there are times when I haven't even addressed it. And you would never know, speaking to the kid or his family, that he ever was committed to another school. And,
oh yeah.
But that tells you a lot, like, about how they feel about you, right? And we've had, and I think our approach as well, that's very transparent, and our environment's very family oriented, and I think kids and their family or circle of influence appreciate that, and our approach that way. And some of them will even tell us, don't stop recruiting me, coach. And once you hear that, you kind of know you're cooking with grease a little bit, and you're going to play the long game. And we did that, right? And we just kept chipping away. And I think, I know this is hard for fans and all that, because they want, we live in an instant gratification society right now because of these things, right? But for us, we got to play the long game, and it's always a long way till signing day in December. We sit here February 20th right now, and that's great. We could have 20 commitments, but that doesn't really matter until they sign. And as you know, things happen up until, I think I told y'all last time, until 2 and 3 a.m. on signing day. So literally, I know that's great for fans to talk about. And yes, you want to have commitments early on, the better, but you still got to hold on to them. So you're playing the long game. It's an everyday thing. And I think anyone in the business knows that. They don't get too up or down about where your class is at a certain point in the year. I saw, what was Florida 68th in the summer, and they ended up 8th, right? So it's like, that's a testament to them and their staff, but every staff's like that. It's like you're just going to keep recruiting. And honestly, JC, like the ones that don't, they're not around anymore. So that's just our mentality. I know that's a lot of my counterparts in this conference and other schools, and that's why they're at the places that they're at. Right. And, but Zay's doing great. I think his biggest thing was, the weight room and our nutrition have been phenomenal for him, and just putting on healthy weight and adding it on the right way. Like, when you come from a junior college and you're at East Mississippi, where you're probably not getting the best, nutrition. That's not a knock on them or anything. That's just, we're an SEC program, and we've got the resources in order to provide these guys with healthy meals, right? Like I always say, like, you can put weight on with cheeseburgers and fries. That's great, but it's not healthy weight, right? And we've got, and Yimi Rodriguez, like, is the best I've ever been around from a nutrition standpoint, and has personalized plans for each of these guys. And, we're not just giving them junk food to get healthy weight on. It's real food, that's cooked in-house by our chefs. So that's massive for his development. And then just in the weight room, getting stronger. Like, obviously he had the frame, and you see that, but getting more explosive, right? And his wingspan is crazy. So like using those arms, and how do we get more powerful in your upper body, and shooting your hips and getting more explosive that way. Like, you see all the traits on tape, but just that takes development, that takes coaching. And so I think we're at a good point right now to where he's gonna play a role for us, and we're hoping that he's gonna have a good 25 campaign. And with all that being said, I think we're not done at that position either. We're gonna be aggressive in the portal. And at that position, you can never have enough guys on the line of scrimmage, especially in this conference, and we're very well aware of that.
It's awesome. Yeah, I think everybody in Gamecock Nation just celebrated that. And look, I like the guys that you got. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't, I'm not like stressing it. But you hit the nail on the head. You can never have too many, and you rotate them, and then your frontline guys are fresh in the fourth quarter. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the way that our defensive scheme is run, we rotate a lot of guys, as you saw. I mean, we almost did like cocky line changes, but that's what Tonk, TJ and Boogie allowed us to do. Like Boogie could, all those guys could play every position, which was like so unique. And like, it was the best combination of D linemen that I've ever been a part of, to where, Boogie can play nose, but he can also slide over as well and play at 3 tech, just because they're so athletic. So what we've tried to do is actively find those body types. Like, we don't just find a zero. Like, a zero is a plugger that's just going to eat the A gap and eat a body. Like, we don't want that. Like, you got to be athletic enough when they shift at the line of scrimmage to play a shade and move over and things like that. And I think Coach Robertson does a phenomenal job of coaching it. But we've got to get it's our responsibility in my department to get him the guys, right? And I think Devontae Miles is going to surprise a lot of people. You saw the length, right, on his tape from Bowling Green. Might not have had the production, but like, our coaching is going to get that dude so much better, and he's already gained like 25 pounds. So sometimes it's just a change of scenery and a different program, a different nutrition program, a different strength program, but he's got like an 83-inch wingspan. So he's going to be versatile enough to play, along the front for us, probably every position except, nose. Obviously, we don't want him playing nose. But we've got guys for that as well. So we're real versatile. We want a mixture of guys up front. And I think Coach Robertson does a great job of, teaching them multiple positions, making them versatile so they're not just a one-trick pony. All the guys learn all the positions. So we sort of have two different body types, right? We have our 3-tech body types and our nose tackle body types, and we've got a list of both. It's not just let's go sign this D lineman. Like, okay, well, where does he fit? Yeah, sometimes guys want us to sign, or it's just fans, which is fine, right? Want us to go sign this D lineman, but like he doesn't fit our scheme. Like that's really, really important to us. And I think the programs that just go sign a guy because he's high rated and all that. Well, what if he comes in and he doesn't fit your scheme, or he only can play the one position in your scheme, and then on third down when you're playing Ole Miss and they're going fast and we can't sub you off the field, you run out of gas, right? So like that's really important to us. I think that's where you take the next step as a program in recruiting and in the portal is when you find the right guys to come in your scheme and your system to help you be successul.
All right, one more question. We'll get you out of here, bub. I appreciate this. This is fascinating to me. The Devontae Miles thing, his public film is all athletic plays. What I didn't see was like him going and taking on a double team inside and things like that. So you say that checked out on y'all's end? Just I mean, we're like my own peace of mind here. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm sure it did. I was just
and I'll be honest, like a lot of the times, like that's okay with us. Like we've got the traits and that's on us as coaches. That's why these guys get paid handsomely. But that's also like, it makes my job easier because I trust our staff I know T-Rob's going to get that out of them. Right. Nice. And I know our strength staff's going to put the weight on them. Like I said, it's a cheat code for me to have that. Like I've been at places where I wasn't so sure of that. So maybe you have to go get a more polished product out of the portal out of high school. I don't feel that way. Like we can just take the traits that we look for from a physical standpoint, like your length and all those things and explosiveness. And then, not to undersell this at all, but get them on a visit and get around them as a person. And do they have the ability to take that hard coaching? Because it's going to be hard. Like no one said it's going to be easy. This is the SEC. And you're going to get coached hard. And you're also going against offensive linemen that, are dudes in this conference. So do you have the mental capacity and the work ethic to do that? Right. And we felt comfortable with that. Right. So that's not just for him, but that goes for every position, and that's great. You got some traits, but if you don't have it up here and you're not a good dude and we don't feel comfortable with you in our program, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. As people that's a point that I've got to hammer home to folks, because outside you don't really, the portal's so vast and there's so many different ways to do it, and it's so new. People just latch on to guys with names. It's crazy. But speaking of names, so final question here. It's a two-parter. Number one, is it true that Brian Rowe jump up and hit his elbow on the rim of a basketball goal? That's been going around. And number two, just in general, what do you think about this group of receivers? Because on paper, you were probably you were 09 class, I think, at Carolina. So it was before I started the big. On paper, it's the best class since 07. Which had a lot of guys that busted out, but there are a lot of highly rated guys. It's
no doubt.
Phenomenal class. Talk about Rowe and talk about the receiver group that you guys signed, because these guys are all good. I can't decide which one's better than the other. I mean, it's hard to differentiate. So
so I haven't heard that rumor about B-Rowe, but it wouldn't surprise me. I won't give you the exact numbers, but he's jumping out of the gym. We do some testing, and then in a couple of weeks here, when we get back, we'll do our Carolina Combine and all that stuff, where we basically mirror the NFL scouting combine and do it for our guys, and it sort of sets the stage going into spring ball, and then we'll do it again in fall camp. But he's got crazy athleticism and crazy vertical, and he's freaky, twitchy, and all those things. But as a group, which one is better. It changes by the day, and I don't want to say one is better than the other because literally, I mean, I was out there watching them yesterday, and you're just to me, it's like until they play, it won't be like validated, but almost like a proud dad moment. You know what I mean? Like you're watching your youngins out there, and they're doing their thing, and they're throwing with the quarterbacks, and they're let's just say they're impressive. All right. And you wouldn't know that some of them are the ages that they are. Like Jordan Gidron is 17 years old. I mean, he's impressive. And, we're still waiting on Donovan Murph to come. Right. So, we can't forget about that one as well. But I also think like it's up the level of everyone else that was still in the room too. Like, Nick is improved, right? And we need Nick, right? We need Nick Carver. Jared Brown has improved and he's become a leader, right? Being the elder statesman in that room now and having the responsibility to bring some of those younger guys along with Mazio. Like I think everyone is seriously improved because they know they've got dudes that are coming in and that are now here and they're finally starting to see them. It's one thing just to watch their high school tape, but now they're doing drills with them. And it's brought up the level of competition amongst the entire room. And I think when you start to do that, your team significantly increases, its productivity level and its, your chances of winning on Saturdays because you've brought more competition into the room. There's not complacency, and not that there was before. It just raises the level of everybody. And I think these young guys have really opened a lot of people's eyes. They're fast. They've got big catch radiuses, and they can jump out the gym, and they're competitive as all get out with one another. Like arguing almost like on the field, like in a healthy way, right? Malik, saying to Jordan, like, I mean, just like not bickering. It's healthy competition, right? And, this is my rep. No, get out. Like that's like stuff that like freaking gets me going. Like, you want to see that stuff, and they're always spending extra time. Like, I mean, I'll be leaving, late at night, and those guys are coming back to go throw in the indoor with the quarterbacks and just get extra work in. They're always here. They're killing it in the classroom, right? And that's usually an indicator too, especially with early enrollee young guys. Like Jordan Gidron should be a junior in high school right now. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
And he's
he's not only early, he's early. Yeah.
That's
right.
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever seen an early enrollee reclassification in my life. But that shows you a lot about that kid, right?
Yeah.
And his potential is, the sky is the limit, right? But it goes back to that character piece. Like they're all like phenomenal kids, right? And they come from good backgrounds and winning programs and things like that. So we're really, really excited about that room. And I know it's funny to go out to the indoor. Coach Furry has to walk by my office, and he'll always walk by on his way back from working them out and just be like, and he'll just stand there and be like, thank you. And it's just like a running joke with us because it's like it's fun for him to coach them. Right. And he's got a phenomenal relationship with them. That's important too. Right. Like they trust him. So they're going to go the extra mile, and those guys are fitting in great. And I know Lenoris and the quarterbacks are happy about having those guys. And, I think it's made maybe improve some work habits of some guys that were currently on the team before they got here, just, raising everyone's levels. And I think, we're really hitting the sweet spot in terms of that. And I think as a program, people start to see that and they start to go on, one guy staying extra turns into 5 guys turns into 10, 10 turns into 20. And next thing you know, you've got the whole offense out there on their own. The programs that I've seen that have done that, that's when you start to win championships.
Outstanding. Darren, man,
Yeah,
I appreciate you giving us some time today.
Yeah,
we'll have
for
you
sure.
back on, obviously, at some point. But best of luck, because I know it's going to crank back up here with spring ball and then the summer visit schedule. I know you can't talk about who specifically is on it, but I've looked at it and it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
so far.
no, I think
I know there's a lot more to add. So
yeah, no, for sure. And I think, one thing that we've tried to do is, when you're at this point as a program, you can be selective. And you've got a vast pool, right? And it's like, how do you shrink it down? Well, we can be more selective now because we've earned that right through our success on the field and what we've been able to do. And we're an attractive destination for kids now. So what we really wanted to do was get those guys that were our priority for us locked in. I think we did one of the better jobs that I saw around the country. Like, teams are just now starting to invite guys. We wanted to do that very early on. And, before those visits, though, in the summer, we'll have a bunch of guys up for spring ball pretty much every single day. We've got a whole, calendar all planned out with those types of things. But yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to get them here on campus as many times as you can. I think, y'all track that stuff more than I do, but I think there's a bunch of guys that are approaching double-digit visits. I think when you start to do that, you really
that drives me insane. You can't consider 10 schools, man. Nobody does that. You can't give 10 schools an equal chance. Those are 3 visits and 7 vacations, in my opinion.
Yeah. And there's some talk. Coach Beamer was at SEC Big Ten meetings the last couple of days prior to this, and there's some talk about trying to shore up some of those things with the NCAA and maybe going back to the 5 visits, which I would be in favor of. Right? And it's just because everyone wants to take a trip to places where it's warm and sunny, and just because you can't. And it's like, let's whittle that down to, let's be serious about this now that they're getting compensated well. Let's treat this a little bit like job interviews in a way, so to speak, and not waste people's time and resources, right? So there's some talk of that, and who knows where that's going to end up, and all those things, and there'll probably be some changes coming to the recruiting calendar that I think is beneficial for us as coaching staffs, but also the kids as well. So, they don't know what they don't know, right? And they just go by the rules that are set forth for them. But, us as the adults in the room need to give them guidance. And if we put rules in place to help them make decisions in a better way, I believe that's what we should do. So, there'll be some things probably hopefully coming down the pipe that way. But, yeah, we're looking forward to a busy spring and then obviously a very, very busy summer. And I think by the end of the summer, you want to have 80% of your class locked in. So that's what we aim to do, and I think we're well on our way that way. And the guys that we have committed to us right now, obviously, like you said, I can't name them by names, but they've done a phenomenal job as leaders and as recruiters. Good players want to play with other good players, right? So they've done a really, really great job of that. They all know each other nowadays, right? So, all these guys go to all these camps and things like that, and they hang out with each other. And so the more that we can get that camaraderie going, the better. And we'll start getting them out to Willie B in the fall, and that place sells itself. That's our biggest recruiting tool, and away we go.
I call it the Pied Piper. Those are Pied Piper recruits, the ones that help you. And there's more of those every single year. So, all right, we appreciate it, buddy. Have a great day. I'll look forward to talking to you again, and certainly keep doing a great job. Recruiting is really, I've been blown away just by the consistency and the players and the culture, the commitment to culture, and my opinion doesn't matter as much as a lot of the fans that now have started to believe in it, because although it's getting negative, I'd rather them be super positive, and y'all feel that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that. And then, I'll shut up because I can ramble. And I can talk with the best of them. That's probably why I enjoy this job so much. But that's important. I think that you can't overstate that enough, JC. And the fans are important. right? So like kids see that, right? They see that, they see it on social media because they're on it just as much. But here's the other thing. Parents are too. You might not know their Twitter accounts because they're not as popular, so to speak, as the recruits, but they're on there, man. And they read those comments, right? And they may be dumb comments from some dude that has 5 followers, but they still read it, right? Like, and dumb or not, they're going to read it. And that's a reflection of your program. And I think we've got really, really good fans right now, and the support is amazing. Obviously, you see that on Saturdays, but it's this time of year and things like that, supporting our guys at the combine and things like that. And that just helps them feel more comfortable going to that school. You know, I was at another school to where I had a recruit tell me the reason he didn't commit to our program at a different school I was at was because of the negativity on social media. I'll never forget that. So I don't ever want to not, engage the importance of the fan base, because now there was probably other factors, but that was the one thing he called and told me on the phone. Because after a loss, how did the fan base treat the current student athletes, right? And it was super negative. And like, I don't get on social media after wins or losses, right? You just, I don't know. That's just how we do it.
It's good for you psychologically, Darren. Yeah, don't do that.
I try not to myself, man.
Yeah, but but as a recruit, you're gonna, right? And as a parent of a recruit, you're gonna, because hey, how are they gonna treat, the mom saying, how are they gonna treat my baby when maybe he didn't score the winning touchdown, he dropped it, right? Yeah. So that stuff matters. I can't overstate the importance of that. And, although it being a small part of it, it does have a direct impact on things. And I never want to lose a recruit because of that. Right. And that was the first time that happened. And it really hit home with me that that's why you appreciate being at places like this, where the fan base is so positive, like you said, and engaging. But yeah, sorry. You made me think of that just now. And I wanted to give Gamecock Nation a shout out there, because they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I preach sermons on that, man. the fan base, because I laughed earlier when you were talking about something online, and it was funny because I say all the time, online is not real life, right?
Yeah,
and so it's not real life, but to the kids, I mean, 19 to 16-year-old, to them, that's a lot of the reality they've experienced, and they take stuff like that personally. I mean,
right?
People, people have to understand that. So, but I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
We will look forward to the next time we chat. And like I said, best of luck for the rest of the recruiting cycle, and we'll all be watching and following it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me on. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Darren.
Take care.